Hi! So this is gonna be my first tarot reading with using the Pride Tarot collaborative deck, and I'm really excited as a fellow queer person and transgender and non-binary gender flex identifying human. I'm just super freaking excited for a queer deck. So 29 on the timer. So I'm doing a good shuffle of the deck before we pull the cards, but I'm like, as you can tell, super... Whoa, okay, we have 2 cards already. So we have the King of Wands. Whoa, I love this already. Look at this hottie right here. And we have this beautiful Ace of Cups. It's gonna be me. Ace of Pentacles. We had 111 on the timer. That's a really special number for me. I actually have a you can't really see. Oh, so you see these 3 black lines on my tattoo, and then there's like a colon here. So those are actually the 111. So yeah, I felt protected enough to let you all know that, who are listening. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles. But yeah, you might be seeing 111. We have the King of Cups. And once I place everything down, I will show you the cards. And I'll be reading from the guidebook for this reading, just because it's my first time using the deck. Whoa, sorry about that. Nice stand on this camera. Wow, acting out right now. There we go. Okay, this is much better. There we go. Okay. Yeah. The 4 of Swords. The 5 of Swords. Already, I just feel so good using this new deck. The Star card, the Knight of Swords, the Page of Swords, the Nine of Wands, the 4 of Swords. We have a lot of swords energy. The World card. The Ace of Swords. Whoa, okay, let's just pick one more. And the Chariot. Okay. Awesome. Figure out. Okay, there we go. Let's place this. Perfect. Okay. So let me show you all the cards. Okay, great. So, right, so I'm gonna take a quick gander at the guidebook for this one. And I'm gonna have to read that. This is my first time using the deck. I haven't even looked up the intro or anything like that, but I was just super excited to do like a reading for you using the deck. We started out with the Ace of Cups, which is really good. I already feel a really good vibe. The Ace of Cups is bursting at the seams with an abundance of love, joy, and tranquility. He's a compassionate ambassador of new beginnings, and the energy of such flows from the life-giving waters of his chalice. His message is, put your past behind you and be present in the now. Let go of that which no longer serves you and live your life to the fullest. The flow of love is endless. It's the most powerful force in the universe. When open to it, you shall receive all the love and support you seek. So that's the Ace of Cups that we have here. So I feel like starting off right off the bat with the King of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, wow, and they have like all the artists' names on each card. This is so freaking cool. Wow. 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 You might be seeing 10 or 10-10, like the end of a cycle. I feel like this is you open to love from the universe now, because you've come into this identity or personhood, I'm hearing from Spirit, that has let you release a lot of like negative shit in your life. With the Two of Swords and this kind of sideways moon and this white and dark energy, I feel as though the reason you've come in to let this love take over is because you're using both yin and yang energy at this time. With the Two of Swords, I want to read a little bit from the guidebook. A mighty two-headed swordsman stands motionless in the castle courtyard, resembling an unbreakable stone statue. The internal conflict he has waged against himself has resulted in stalemate, with neither the light nor the dark side of his body being able to overpower the will of the other. You've come into balance with yourself, almost to the point where it's kind of annoying. Like you want to be more extreme, I'm feeling, but at the same time you're letting love flow nicely in the universe itself. Sorry, within yourself. Not, yeah. There's wind out here right now. You might be a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. We have the World and the Chariot leading the end of the reading. So it's interesting. I feel like you're very passionate about this new venture or adventure you're seeking. The Ace of Pentacles. I want to read from the guidebook. In the Ace of Pentacles, the universe offers up a swirling manifestation of beauty and abundance. This card suggests that shaping the look and feel of the world around us is within our grasp. This card is about prosperity coming out of the possibility and productivity. The Greek key is a nod to both the culture and modern design brought by the legendary fashion house of Versace. However, the growth within each of us is not just about glitter and gilding the lily, but the forming and shaping to become well-rounded and to attain gleaming perfection. The emanation of clear spiritual light instills newness, fresh awakenings, and resurrection. Let this card remind us that the light of spirit may guide us to a new, joy-filled life. So I think what's happening is like you're focusing on the little details now more so than you were before, because when you were kind of in this onslaught of swords energy, which led to this balancing, I feel like you had to cut a lot of different entities and energies out of your life in order for you to find this yin and yang, light and dark balance here. With the King of Cups, I almost feel like you're caressing, you're a masculine, a divine masculine, you're almost caressing your femininity right now. You might be a water sign, a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, flowing nicely within, and your crown chakra is taking you on an adventure. As you can see with this King of Cups. Do you see the Kings? And we have the fishes here, so you may be a Pisces. The double fish. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancerian, Sun sign. With the stars and the beard, you might be unearthing things from the darkness. Like I said, you're focusing on the little details now. Every moment, every movement, every part of your beautiful soul is important to you at this time. Spirit is guiding you with love, light, abundance, happiness, joy, prosperity, and good health. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit itself. I feel like here these two shadow figures look surprised. And the Five of Swords. They look surprised that you're holding up such a beautifully unsheathed sword, so divinely guided, and understanding like, oh, you're not one to be messed around with, because you're beautiful, you're gleaming. You're dripping with sweat and musk in a way that's like beautiful and sexy. And you're also very put together. Like, it's like you have all these. And I feel like even these swords, like, even though you've been, it looks like it's almost like you've been, it doesn't show blood, but it looks like somebody tried to stab you or you've been stabbed. Or these are your swords all as well. And these like two hidden enemies here. You might be dealing with a Gemini, Pisces, a Cancer, Cancerian, who tried to stab you in the back, but you held up your sword anyway. Hidden enemies, definitely. I want to read from the guidebook. Yeah, so the original meaning of the Five of Swords card represents conflict and dishonorable acts such as bullying and unfair fights. And I feel like that's kind of what you went through, where you got ganged up on by a couple of multiple different, not only like multiple people, but multiple groups of people, is what divine understanding is coming to my brain at the moment. And the Five of Swords, the victor is now the person who has suffered injustices and hostilities. Here he has distanced himself by overcoming abuse, trauma, and prejudice. I want to illustrate a black trans individual overcoming those very obstacles and coming out on top. Those two figures in the background are the very manifestations of bullying and oppression that trans people, specifically trans people of color, deal with on a daily basis. So that's from the guidebook. You're manifesting something you've wanted your entire life with a good buddy of yours, which can be seen in this loyalty that this person has in the Four of Swords with this creature. It's like both of you know you've been through some things. I feel like Spirit is pushing you towards this agenda or future or something new, purposeful, that you can bring out pretty colors in the world. That's what I'm hearing. You can bring out beautiful colors. You might be a Libra, Pluto. So Pluto and Libra often represents like fighting existence, injustices through beauty. So if you have Pluto and Libra, you might be with the Seven of Swords here. I feel like there's someone who's still trying to attack you on a daily basis because they're being sneaky in this card. They're trying to, and do you notice though that these other people can clearly see that they're doing something bad or unjust, but they're kind of too far away to help you out. So they're kind of like watching it and they're like scared for you. But with the like with this Five of Swords, I feel like you've proven yourself that you can take care of yourself quite well. And I think the reason people may act like this towards you sometime is because with the Star card, let's read from the guidebook. Hope, optimism, faith, serenity, renewal, and spirituality. You're an extremely in tune being with the planet. Your renewal of your body, your mind, and spirit and soul. Soulless people tend to gravitate towards you, but you're very optimistic, even in the midst of unjust beings being around you with this dark entity that's attached to them. The merman swims out from the weeds towards a bright light that shines from above and illuminates the deep dark blue waters. Exactly. And it's like you're swimming underwater for most of your life, but you can still see everything illuminated because you're the light. Everywhere you go, you not only light up everywhere, but you can see clearly what's happening and what's going on, and that's why you're the star, because you bring out new information, you bring out new clarity, you bring out new injustices every day in society to people who are not listening, to people of color, people of trans identities, people of non-binary identities. And within the spectrum of people of color, I feel like they're a lot forgotten often, but still not ignored in the eyes of those who bring clarity, like yourself. Brown people have experienced injustices in, like South Asian folks have experienced injustices throughout their entire lives, from before imperialism, from till today. And slavery was part of that, and often overlooked, because I feel like just like with Black people, or African Americans in this country, or Caribbean, or whatever you want to call it, like we all went through this period of slavery with white enslavement of races such as ours that are often ignored and overlooked, even in the media or what people tell you outside of that, depending on who you hang out with, who you talk to on a daily basis. You're the type of person that no matter who you're talking to and who you're speaking to, you're always as authentic as you can safely feel. But even if you're not feeling safe, you blurt out things that you're meant to say because you speak the truth. That's what I'm getting from this card. You're an activist of sorts. You might also be an artist, though. You might also be a speaker, a public speaker. You might be in the public, making like food. You might be like a chef. Like you might be making food as, through cultural cuisine, you're expanding people's tastes. With your gender identity, you might be making waves in the food scene as well. Just showing like, hey, like trans people can do it too, or, you know, lesbian, gay people can do it too, or, you know, just non-conforming, like, queer people can do it too. And we have the Two of Swords. Speaking of two, like, I feel like this is you balancing out the energies of the universally disregarding collective species who are sometimes honestly turning a blind eye to a lot of things. And but that's not you, collective. You don't turn a blind eye. You're part of a soul tribe that really remains very in touch with your spirituality, is what I'm hearing. And in your intuition, because as soon as I pulled out the Two of Swords in conjunction with the Star, on the Star card, let it remind you of how powerful and beautiful your own intuition and strength can really be, is what the guidebook says for the Star card. And the Two of Swords, in the original tarot deck, I feel like intuition is a huge part of this card, the Rider-Waite tarot deck. So I feel like in traditional tarot and even in Pride tarot, the two are synchronistic. So this has to do more so with your spiritually in tune practices you may practice on a daily basis. Your soul is somehow being cleansed. You might have a method you're using to clear out your chakras. Maybe I'll make a video on this stuff, like chakra, how to cleanse chakras and things like that. It's something I'm working on my own as well, so perhaps later in the future. Or with the Knight of Swords, but yeah, with the Knight of Swords, okay, so what this card is saying is that you might be an emperor status right now, but you're using your intuition to understand the energies around you to make the right choices. So even if you identify differently, you might be using a different sense of alignment within yourself to counteract the disingenuine nature of somebody else. That's what I'm hearing from God and Spirit itself. Because I feel like with this Page of Swords, there's someone or some entity that's attached to something or someone that you're dealing with. It might be a workplace situation. It might be like a pet care situation. It might be like, or your pets might be helping you with the situation. Something like that. You might be connected to animal spirit and they're guiding you. But there's someone out here who doesn't have your best interests and might be honestly crazy minded, in the sense they're not taking care of themselves enough to warrant them caring about you in general. So that person By the way, if I have to stop this reading, like, I want this beautiful reading to just go on as long as it needs to go on. So if I need to do like a 12-part series on just this reading alone, I totally will, if I have to stop recording and then start recording again, just in case we get interrupted. But just so you know, I really care about you and this reading, and I want this to be a good a Groot reading for everybody. That reminds me of that movie with the raccoon. I think Vin Diesel does the voice of, not Groot, but the raccoon. But it's the one with Chris Pratt. Avengers? A movie? One of them. But yeah, Groot reading. Groot's the tree, right? So I feel like the tree of life is important to you, where like you understand like roots, your ancestors are really important. There might be an ancestor in your reading actually right now. With the World card and the Chariot and the Ace of Swords, and this kind of red bottom here. This red bottom shoe. And I feel like white represents air, passion with discernment, perplexity around a situation, but also fortitude. So your ancestors might be understanding that you don't have a lot to go off of. You might be afraid of your family or not speaking to your family, but this ancestor of yours has protected you before you were even born. Wow. Wow. So you've had an ancestor who, before you were born, knew what was happening with your life before you were even born. They knew what you were destined to be. They knew who you were going to grow into, and they knew you were going to have strife and struggle in your life. But they knew that without them there, you'd be able to handle it. But they say that with these struggles comes great power and entity selectment, which means like you have to choose your friends wisely, because when you were born, there were already people who wanted you to fail at what you wanted to do. For some reason, there was this negative, dark energy bubbling or brewing in the midst of treason and strife throughout the family system, because of something that happened way back in the past, is what I'm hearing. It goes like roots, like back to like the 1800s or the 1600s or the 14 or 1300s. There's some person that senses something happened to you before you were born, which caused your particular bloodstream to have some sort of issues, but you have these issues in your life because of something that happened in like a war, or like The 1800s is what I'm hearing over and over again. Over and over and over and over. Something happened. This might have been a family dynamic, or somebody hit somebody or something. Money issues or land. Somebody attacked somebody though, for sure. Damn. Damn, that's cold. But anyway, they've been protecting you before you were born, because they knew these burdens weren't yours to begin with. With the 9 of Wands here, I feel like you've been injured for literally something that you've never done or had anything to do with. So you've been burned over and over, and it's like almost like these are wands, but they look like stakes. You know, it's like you've been burned at the stake over and over again. But for some reason, people keep denying that they're doing this to you unjustly, and they just keep doing it. But with this pentacle, this crystal, this death symbolism, almost like this Gengar looking creature. I feel like exactly, we're talking about ghosts, right? Gengar from Pokemon was a ghost Pokemon. I don't know if you understand Pokemon terminology or not, but essentially Gengar was this there's like stages of Pokemon, and Gengar was the most evolved out of the ghost Pokemon, out of Haunter, Ghastly, and Gengar. Like, those are the 3 original ghost Pokemon in traditional Pokemon, and Gengar was the most evolved. And that's your ancestors saying, wow. I'm getting, and the wind is picking up too, and intelligence, something in the air where you're understanding and enlightening yourself and your beauty, your spirit, your gold. I'm hearing you have gold in your family, or you have gold in your blood, or something like that. But you're secretive about these specific traits or things because you don't want people to like take them away, unrightfully so, because you've been burned so many times. But with this 9 of Wands, I feel like this is you standing in your wound and your wounded your bandages, your spikes on your shoulders, you have a leather jacket on, and you're like, your lips are dark or red. You're passionate about your new beginning. With this Chariot, that's all I have for you. Bless everyone. Good night.